Well, hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the BlueGamer Bluecast morning show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, in which I will go over gaming news and maybe talk about what I've been playing lately. I want to start actually some breaking news. Actually, I don't know how breaking it is. Looks like it was posted this morning. Let's jump to the screen share. This is from Wario64, but it was posted on the PlayStation blog. Ghost of Tsushima for PC includes cross-play support and is the first PS PC title to use a new PlayStation overlay, accessible with Shift F1 or in-game menu for PSN friends list, trophies, settings, or profile. Can also earn trophies, shares same PS5 trophy set in addition to full support for Steam and EGS achievements. So this is awesome because what Sony has just done is got another sale because, I have this on PS5, would love to play this on PC, and knowing that it has this cross-play. Now, is that cross saves? But, hopefully we can get some more details later. But also with the shares the same PS5 trophy set. So if it's all linked, that is another great direction Sony's going in, even though they should have done that with Helldivers 2, but maybe they, it was one of those things where maybe they didn't have, when they've been planning this, all this stuff is very new, not only for Sony, but for gamers. It's very funny. Like, this is the thing I hate about Twitter. I rarely get on Twitter. I just wanted to see if there was any news real quick, and I posted that I was going live. But down here, the first post is so cringe. We do not want any PlayStation overlay or trophies. It is like someone has to complain about something all the time. So I just put, we do not want any cringe takes. No, but really, like, there's no reason for someone to say that. It just ruins the conversation. Anyway, I like this. I'm welcoming this. This will be great moving forward. If this is how Sony is taking the transition into the future of their platform, I love it. And it's just what's going to happen. Games are going to be on all platforms. That was some cool breaking news, but yeah, to talk a little bit about what I was playing yesterday, all I really did was play some Dragon's Dogma 2, and I had a lot of fun with it. As I had mentioned before, I got to the last boss, but realized it was probably a little mix of being under-leveled, underpowered, but also there was so much more I wanted to do. So and it was great because as I am then, okay, I'm going to do this since I haven't done it in a while, I'm running into these things where then I have these other quests to do, and I just love that kind of emergent style of gameplay. One was where an NPC I was talking to reminded me of this place that I have access to in another city. And I remember there was a woman there that said, come visit me anytime. And so that's what's funny here. So it's my own pervertedness that I was like, well, yeah, let me go visit her. And when I went in her room, she wasn't there, but I know that she has like a peephole into another room. And so I was like, well, I'll just look in the peephole. And yeah, she was in there with another person, and I guess she was about to kill him, but let him go. And that because apparently she saw me, and then she's like, okay, well, maybe you can help me out. Let's see if we can figure out, what this guy's been up to before we kill him. And you have 3 days to do it. So I love how just me, at just my own desires, kind of shaped the direction I went into the game, opening up a quest that I otherwise would not have ever run into. I love that about Dragon's Dogma 2. That's what's just so fun about it. And that was really all I played. Yeah, there was a new GeForce driver, and I don't know if it did anything, but I got to say, the past few times I've been playing Dragon's Dogma 2, it has been running good. It has been running really good, and I haven't been noticing any slowdown like I would before. Maybe except if there's like a time where I'm turning the camera and it happens to have draw distance down like a large cavern, which is what happened, and then there's like a giant ogre fighting a giant werewolf while there's enemies casting spells at them. Like, that's so much that happens at once in that game. So good. Okay. Let's see. So that was kind of about it with gaming. I'm still kind of working on this. I guess the Ambernick RG35XXH seems cool, and maybe running it stock is fine, but even there's still problems there. Like, when I went on Reddit to kind of look at what people are doing, I noticed every day there's a post with at least someone saying, hey, this won't power on. Hey, why can't I get this to work? And I've just come to conclude that as cool as this is hardware-wise, like one of the best pocketable retro handhelds, it has a lot of issues. Hopefully that could be fixed with firmware, but I wonder if it's hardware because I'm using custom firmware, official firmware. I don't know. The official firmware has very limited features, but the community is great at updating. So, all right, let's jump into news. And there was something I realized where there's sometimes news that day after the live stream that I forget to talk about. So I wanted to save some to discuss here. One is new Konami code discovered in Castlevania game 25 years later. So this Castlevania game is the Legacy of Darkness N64 game. When did that come out? 2000, 2001? 1999, okay. I guess that makes sense. And I guess just on the main menus, the Konami code, the up, up, down, down, left, left, right, right, A start or whatever. It's the same thing for the level select in Sonic. It's used for unlocking, I guess, this where you can select your characters or a bunch of stuff, which I'd love to try. That is one Castlevania game I never completely played through, so I'll need to do that. What's neat about the Konami code though is I've learned recently through a friend how you get to that point when developing a game. Sometimes it's like you want to put hidden mechanisms within your game so that as you're debugging it, as you're troubleshooting it, you can quickly get to what you need to instead of playing through the game just to test something. So it's neat now in context seeing these codes are in place for really for developers, but it's neat when they leave them in game for players to discover. And then this other thing is Sonic Dream Team gets a big free update in wake of Sega layoffs. Interesting how they had to add in wake of Sega layoffs. I mean, every company's having layoffs. Take-Two just announced layoffs. And so I'm kind of I feel like it's now time where we don't really need to talk about the layoffs anymore because it's pretty obvious in the past few years what has transpired up until this point. And it has nothing to do with it. Sonic Dream Team is actually a very surprisingly fun game that I think is better than Sonic Superstars, even though I would say it feels a tad jankier than Sonic Superstars. It is a mix of, the three. It's basically a 3D Sonic game, but it has, I don't know, it's just done in a fun way. It reminds me of Super Mario 3D World in the way where you're in an area where there's things, almost like Mario 64. We're in an area where there's a number of things you can do to get your star or whatever. I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's really fun. I didn't beat it, but I got really far because there's a lot of content. And again, I didn't mention this. Sonic Dream Team is Apple Arcade only, so I got a Apple TV just to play this and the Castlevania game, which is actually really good on there. And it's a fun game. I need to get back to it. I just don't like how Apple TV... Again, this kind of goes back to what's going on in the video game industry in general, but how Apple Arcade is locked to a iOS device. Which, if anything, we could see from both Sony and Microsoft that there's a move away from that. Now, the cheapest way to play Apple Arcade also doesn't allow you to fully play Apple Arcade. So right now, the cheapest way to play Nintendo games is a base, or Nintendo Switch games is a base Switch. Maybe even a Lite, which I think that is a much more reasonable point of entry to playing Nintendo games than what Apple offers for a point of entry to play Apple Arcade. If you want to be able to play things at the max, you'd have to pay a little bit more. I bought the Apple TV 4K to do that, but because I didn't have an iPhone device, not only is it super hard to get the Apple Arcade TV set up, but I can't even use all the features because I don't have an iPhone or iPad. So I think there's a barrier of entry there where a lot of people don't realize how good some of these Apple Arcade games are, like Sonic Dream Team, because of that walled garden sort of locked-in ecosystem approach that still lingers with Apple. And luckily, people like Sony and Microsoft has always generally been pretty open, but Sony is now moving away from that. Okay, so that's just stuff that I found from yesterday. But to look at brand new news. For Shell Games, VR is the technology of the present. Okay, yeah, I don't know. VR is pretty cool, but I think it's well, I guess it's part of video gaming into where it's just another means of entertainment, just like mobile gaming, just like Guitar Hero. which I was like, yesterday I was thinking, is Guitar Hero even really a video game? And I'm thinking, well, you do high score, because by playing an electric guitar, it's not like that's a video game, but I am playing the notes, and it's electric. I don't know. PlayStation is officially bringing trophies to PC. Okay, 8:06 a.m. So yeah, I just got on that. So very cool. Ghost of Tsushima will feature the same trophy list as the base game. Let me look at this more to see if there's any more details about that. The Director's Cut is the first PlayStation title on PC that uses a new PlayStation overlay, which includes your friends list, trophies, settings, and profile. While playing the game, you can earn trophies just like on the consoles. They share the same trophy set, but does that mean it's cross play? Like, let's see. In crossplay, you can sign in with your existing PlayStation Network, create a new account. The use of PlayStation overlay is an option for both. Okay. In addition, following. Okay, they're not really specifically yet saying if they mean the same trophy set as like your progression. Nothing here says cross progression, cross save. Everything is cross play because it does have a multiplayer component to it. I'd like to get some more details if we can find out like if it's actually like cross progression. Because if I could continue my game from where I am on the PS5 on the PC, that would be great. And I'm saying this because I could PS Remote to play it, but as great as that is, a game like Ghost of Tsushima is not a game I want to remote in because it's almost barely there. You can still see. So if I can play it natively, I'm like my ROG ally. And continue my progress. That's excellent. Helldivers 2 works great on the ROG ally. All right. Let's see. Gameloft hints at possible U-turn over Disney Speedstorm Season Pass backlash. Gameloft, premier mobile game developer for the longest time, they got to a point where they could streamline games that were quality for the mainstream. Disney got with them to make a sort of Mario Kart that's Disney themed. Let's see. Last week, the developer detailed its plans for Season 7. I can't even believe it's in Season 7. Like, I thought this game was like just in like, what do you call it? Oh my God, there's a word for that this morning. I forgot. The preview of a game. So, among the plans was news that the premium tier of the Golden Pass, which is the game's equivalent of a Season Pass or Battle Pass, can no longer be earned by collecting in-game tokens. They can only be purchased for $9.99. Okay, we would like to thank all of our fans for providing feedback over the past week. We appreciate having such a passionate community. We will provide an update. Okay. Okay, given that Season 7 is due to start on Thursday, it's not clear if Gameloft's update will come before then or if Season 7 will be delayed further while Golden Pass monetization is rethought. Well, that's great. I mean, look, companies can come up with ideas. Sometimes it's executives saying, let's monetize in this way. It could be the developer thinking maybe we can appease our stakeholders by monetizing this way and still make it fun. But luckily, at the end of the day, it's what the community is saying. And I like that they're kind of listening and figuring out how to better approach this. So kudos to them, especially with such a mainstream game like Disney. It's like, does it matter? Look at mobile games. But the fact that they are listening with such a big game, that's pretty good. And when I say big game, I just mean an IP that is prone to criticism depending on how it's used. So, let's see. Hasbro wants another Baldur's Gate game, but Larian won't be the developer. Huh. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that Hasbro, they do the licensing for Wizards of the Coast. Interesting. Baldur's Gate, I didn't play it, but it's one of those games from last year that just blew up. Everyone got excited about it, made a ton of money, was all over the news. I was super happy about it, but it's just not my type of game because of the turn-based stuff. It's funny though. Every time for some reason now when I think of Baldur's Gate, it reminds me of shocker, Sniper Elite 4, because when this first came out as its official release and people were reviewing it, I remember listening to podcasts while playing Sniper Elite 4. There's this one mission in Sniper Elite 4. It's like this humongous, like, submarine base or something, or weapons base. I don't think it's submarine. I think it's a weapons base. And it has rafters. It has different levels. That was so fun, marking the enemy, sneaking around. Oh, love that type of gameplay. Anyway. Oh yeah, Grounded gets its final huge update, fully yoked, as it arrives on Switch and PlayStation. Good for them. Okay, Mortal Kombat 1 Season 5. Wow, even that, to me, Season 5, by now, that seems like it went by so fast. Ermac arrives for Combat Pack owners. I haven't really played the new one. It's probably cool, but it's like I've been there, done that. And I haven't even played where they have, like, the Predator, the Alien or something. I need to do that stuff. Okay, Ubisoft responds to criticism of Star Wars Outlaws Season Pass exclusive mission. So, I want to say something real quick. I made mention of this, I don't know if it was the last show or the show before, where I was even disappointed. It's like, why make a Jabba mission? Isn't Jabba a main thing? But from what I understand, and maybe we'll find out the details here, is Jabba is already part of the main game. There is just this extra mission you can buy. So the fact that it's an extra mission you can buy means you can beat the game without it, and Jabba is not excluded from the main game. So I guess it's not too big of a deal to me, although there's more to it than that. But as well as 2 additional narrative expansions coming after launch, the game Season Pass will also include a day 1 exclusive mission with Jabba called Jabba's Gambit. Season passes, but that's the other thing too, is like, who are they targeting with this, and what are they trying to say? It's a day 1 exclusive mission. Are people going to beat the game day 1, or on day 1 are they going to get far enough in the game where they get to this Jabba mission? That's the thing where it's almost like you're making someone feel FOMO for something that they won't even potentially be able to partake in day 1. It's very interesting. However, a criticism was directed at Ubisoft for choosing to add this Jabba mission to the Season Pass too, with some saying that because it's clearly ready and available on release date, it should be included as part of the main game. Ubisoft has now responded, confirming that the mission is locked behind the Season Pass, but also pointing out that it isn't the only mission in the game to feature Jabba the Hutt. To clarify, Jabba the Hutt and the Hutt Cartel are one of the main syndicates in Star Wars. So that's cool. I just feel like, think about it. Like I was just saying, they have a mission exclusive, like they have a mission day 1 that you can buy, but what are the chances that you're going to be able to play that mission on day 1? I would almost feel like they do after like 2 weeks. Here's this mission. Or let's say that they're keeping online influencers in mind, and the idea is that there's going to be some people that beat the game in a day or 2. I don't know if that's true. Maybe a couple days, and then they're able to play that mission. So early in this game's release cycle, people can talk about the mission. So that would almost be like maybe Ubisoft's positioning to show, hey, our Season Pass or our extra missions you pay for are really good. But still, again, let me know what you guys think. I think it's crazy that it's like something extra to buy on day 1, yet are you really even going to get to that point in the game? It doesn't make sense from explaining it, it's just like they're saying this. It's almost like I'm trying to find like a good example. They're like, can I come up with something on the spot for that? It just doesn't make sense to me. It would, if it was a cosmetic, if it was extra weapons that you could use during your first playthrough, sure. But for a mission that you don't know when you're going to get to it, yeah. Anyway, it will be released on my birthday, August 30th. I cannot wait. Let's see here. 70% of developers worry about the live service model sustainability, survey shows. And I get it, but it's almost like what we were just talking about, where I feel like there's these unspoken things. It's like, you shouldn't be worried about live service on its own. It's make a game that has live service, and then you can think about how to implement live service. I mean, in terms of the developers worried, it's like if you're working on a project that they're implementing some live service stuff you don't like, I would say just document how you don't think it will work out, communicate it, And if you can't really find another job, because I know you can't just like move jobs, it's really hard to do that in this economy. Work on the game and then be able to maybe show after the fact. Here's the information I collected all through development of what I thought about what would happen. Here is what happened. Because if you can kind of show your knowledge in areas like that, people are gonna, want to lean on you for your expertise. So 600 developers were interviewed. And that's a low number because that's a fraction of like the amount of developers that make an Assassin's Creed, for instance. So it's I get it where you can't just say you're gonna. I think you can say I'm gonna make a live service game. You just have to make sure you're making it a fun game. But at the same time, I don't think you can just say you're gonna make a live service game without understanding that there just needs to be a base game in the first place. And who knows, again, I don't want to talk bad, but out of the 600 developers, how many of them are people in their 50s that don't care about this stuff? How many are people in their 20s that just started getting into game development and they look at games another way? I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at there. Hasbro is talking to lots of partners about, okay, so that thing with Larian, this headline, because I'm a headline guy, kind of does a better job of explaining what's going on. Oh, this is good. One of the best Far Cry games is getting a new collector's edition. So when Far Cry Blood Dragon came out, that was a pivotal time in my life as an enjoyer of things and a creator, where I had already by that point deeply gotten to the synthwave scene, retrowave scene. It started with Kavinsky and his Outrun EP. And then from there, slowly, I started seeing more of this music come out in that fashion. The neon, the sun with the, scan lines, that whole thing. And then even the re-release of, what is it called? The Connection, the ninja movie that was from the 80s. It was an 80s American ninja film, independent film. Oh, God, I even own it. I can't believe Miami Connection. There was a song in Miami Connection right at the end credits that this game played at the end credits when I beat it. And it's just another example of this cross and fusion of all these things I liked. And they were just kind of coming together within this time period. Was it early 2010s? Let's see. Okay, so let's go into this. Between April 19th and May 19th, fans of Far Cry can pre-order a special collector's edition of Blood Dragon, the standalone spin-off of Far Cry 3 that was released more than 10 years ago. So it was more than 10 years ago. Despite being a mini-game, Blood Dragon is often lauded as being one of the best titles in the series, and Far Cry fans have never forgotten about it because it has style and substance. So as you're using the base Far Cry combat system and mechanics, you're doing it within this really neat, thought-out world to be let's introduce players to and then add, because don't you rip out their hearts or their brains or something as part? It's it has a neat gameplay elements in it. As a result of the partnership between Ubisoft and Limited Run Games, fans can pre-order a merch-filled brand new. Let's look at this. Oh God, 124. I mean, I don't know if I would do that, but let's look at this. Wow, what made them do this with Blood Dragon? I wish they would just come out with a new one. And what's weird about this is this has happened in the past with limited run games where there will be an old game re-release and I'm like, oh, okay, this means there must be some extra stuff going on. And then no, that doesn't happen. I wonder how much this is just more of it. How much of it is Ubisoft going to limited run games? Or how much of it is really limited run games going to Ubisoft based on what they think people are wanting? Because the same thing with the Konami and the Castlevania stuff. So this collector's edition, don't tell me it's a base with action figures. Oh, come on. That's amazing. I've gotten out of collecting just any action figure that I thought was cool. It would be more okay, I would only collect these things, but that is awesome. Oh my gosh. I mean, where would I put it? What would I even do with it? But I like it. Oh, does this mean they're going to have a vinyl? Hold on. Because that's what would get me. I do not see I see a cassette soundtrack, but not a vinyl. I wonder if that's a sticker. This is a binder, a pin set, but no vinyl. I would love to get a vinyl. Oh well, maybe something will come out of that. Hello, Steven. Far Cry rocking with the collector's items. Yeah, and I need to hold myself back because that action figure thing, it's just the vibe. If they had the vinyl, that for sure I would have got. Okay. Fallout Shelter daily revenue up. Oh my god, yeah. And I think I was talking about yesterday, like I almost finished the first episode and it was just okay. And I was talking to someone else that said they only just got to the second episode. I don't know. It's like it looks really cool, but I don't know. Let's see. UK petition to stop publishers killing games. Yeah, that's something that's been around for a little bit here. Yeah, we'll see what happens about that. Yeah, the Take-Two layoffs. I know they keep saying GTA publisher, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's related to GTA. And then they use the picture. Obviously, it's going to get people to click. Wow, yeah, that was everyone reported on that about the same time. That was about yesterday. Okay, well, then I think that's about it for the news. Nothing too crazy. I think out of this, it was neat seeing that Far Cry thing. That was the biggest thing for me personally. Other than that, I think this news with the PlayStation trophies and the way they're integrating it with Ghost of Tsushima is like exactly what I want from that. So it's cool they're doing that. From Midnight Hatter, I enjoy the Fallout games, but I'm not heavily invested in the world and lore. Post-apocalypse is boring to me. Yeah, and I'd agree. I think for me in general, post-apocalypse is boring. And I think it's because it ends up being shoehorned into a lot of things. Like, for instance, open world video games, there's a lot of times where the game is set in that to make it where there doesn't have to be a lot of NPCs running around. So I kind of get tired of that. But, you know, it's weird because the Fallout show is shot so well, so good. It looks like people that know how to craft a film. But I don't know, something about it is just not grabbing me. And maybe it is the world. Maybe I don't care about that. Yeah, so listening to me at Sony, yeah, I hope so. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode of the BlueGamer Bluecast Morning Show. And I forgot to ask this at the beginning, but post any games you might be playing. Thanks for the. Oh, actually, let me pull that up. Actually, I don't want to forget this because I had asked, and I want to kind of do this regularly, where I ask people to post what they're playing because sometimes that helps me, figure out what I should get into. And someone posted yesterday, new subscriber. Let me get to that. Sorry, I'm taking so long. Okay, this is from Crad Mosh. Recently, I've been playing Yooka-Laylee in The Impossible Lair. I've never played the first one, but I kind of prefer 2D platformers over 3D since it feels as if 2D levels are more compact than 3D levels. Got into it since I've been itching to play Mario Wonder, but I'll get to Wonder after I play the other non-Mario 2D platformers. Have fun with that. Glad you brought up Yooka-Laylee because I wasn't big on the 3D one, but the 2D one's really fun. And I commented, like, thanks for bringing that up because I need to go back to that. The Yooka-Laylee 2D, The Impossible Lair, is actually really fun. It's a good 2D game. So, yeah, thanks, Crad Mosh, for posting that. All right, well, I'm going to head out. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. And until tomorrow morning, we will talk later.